My name is Rachel Mann, and I am one of the co-editors of the Roberto Gerhard Re-Appraising a Musical Visionary book, and it was written for the British Academy and published by Oxford. I think one of the most exciting things about this particular project is that I happen to be a Roberto Gerhard scholar, but because we did this through the British Academy, they wanted it to be open to a wider audience, and so they wanted us to bring in people who weren't necessarily all Gerhard scholars. So we had people who were experts in cultural translation, or people who were experts in exile studies. And so some of the authors in our book actually aren't musicians, but they were able to talk about the sort of geopolitical sort of situation and how cultural translation works, and how this can inform what we're doing with the actual composer that we're talking about. And so I think we had four sort of backbone sort of authors that could sort of build this idea for our book. I think what I enjoyed the most was realizing that I don't need to be an absolute expert about everything that was in the book before we started that journey. And so one of the things that I found to be really cool is that I am a Roberto Gerhard scholar, and I know a lot about particular aspects of his life and his music. But through this process of being an editor and also an author, is that I learned so much about British culture. I learned a lot about exile studies. I learned about cultural translation, and a lot of things that really now will take me to inform my work beyond, this book or any sort of projects like that. So that was actually really cool. I think the most interesting thing is that when we talk about the composer Roberto Gerhard, we always sort of follow this, it's terrible, he was in exile, so he was written out of Spanish history because he was, not a supporter of Franco. He exiled to England and he lived penniless and had to eke his way and try to make some kind of living. But when you sort of look at who he actually was, in spite of being in exile, still had a lot of privilege. He had a lot of friends in very high places who were able to get him a position in England, were able to help support his work and support a lot of his compositions. I mean, the fact that he was friends with people like Leonard Bernstein, who were able to get him commissions for the New York Phil. He was friends with William Glock at the BBC and had lots of recordings and performances. It's sort of turning this sort of story of exiles on their head. So